Developing news now in Compton. Sheriff's investigators say a man was shot at the intersection of Cusco Avenue and Pauline Street just before 5:30 this morning. Sky 2 was over the scene earlier, which remains blocked off. The victim was rushed to the hospital, but he later died. He has not yet been identified. A young woman lost her life in a horrific crash on the 101 freeway. As CBS 2's Tina Patel reports, a photojournalist at the scene tried to save her, but sadly, it was too late.
The 101 freeway is back open after being closed for much of the morning commute, but the deadly crash is still having an impact on those who knew the victim and those who witnessed the aftermath.
I couldn't believe what I was looking at.
When photojournalist Howard Racebrook pulled up to this crash scene on the 101 freeway Thursday morning, he was taken aback.
I've been looking at crashes for 20 years, and we've seen some horrific incidents, but half a car on the freeway, half the car off the freeway, it was devastating.
He saw a woman lying on the ground near the wreckage. He says he didn't think. He immediately started CPR.
I had to try something. I mean, I know it's a dangerous situation. There's cars still flying past. I could smell gasoline. There's a car in half, and it's kind of on a dark corner. So it's like, do I try? Yes. Do I risk it? I tried.
CHP officers appreciate what Racebrook did, but they say the impact of the crash was too great.
The efforts that he made was incredibly brave and incredibly heroic, but unfortunately it was not enough to bring them back to life.
Investigators are now trying to figure out what caused the 20-year-old driver to lose control and swerve into the guardrail by the 101-134 interchange. It was just after 2 a.m. They don't know if she fell asleep, but it appears she was going at a high rate of speed when she crashed. Investigators are talking to her boyfriend, who had been on the phone with her minutes before.
She was driving home from the valley to Pasadena, and after he hadn't heard for a while, he came looking.
He then contacted family members who showed up and consoled each other on the side of the road. Investigators say another driver crashed into the wreckage and suffered moderate injuries, but is expected to be okay. They hope this crash will be a warning to drivers to slow down and pay attention, especially in the early morning hours.
We really want people to have that follow distance, that safe speed, where they could safely avoid any sort of tragedy.
Investigators do not believe that drugs or alcohol were a factor in the crash, but they're asking anyone who might have been on the freeway at the time and saw something to let them know. In North Hollywood, Tina Patel, CBS 2 News.